Thank you, Robert. Joachim unfortunately had some issues with his family. His son is in the hospital, so he excused himself, and we wish him and his son the very best. In the first session, the one on disruption on the economy, I can sum it up basically in two words, and those are cautious and optimistic. And I'll elaborate a bit more on that. We tackled the three lines there in both sessions. The first one is disruption of the economy, of the current models, and of the workplace, and of employment, of course. That stems from all the work from Frey and Osborne. The second one is skills, and the third one is regulation, which is something very close to the heart to all speakers and to all the room, because it's something that is a space for politics. And of course, being at the European Parliament, it was a very hot topic, and there were very diverse approaches to this. A fourth, an extra one, I would say, would be attitude. It's more of an emotional, social topic, but I believe it's crucial. It echoes a bit what Luciano was saying on being a bit more daring in experimentation in Europe. So on the first one, on disruption, there is no question. I think we had a consensus there that there will be disruption. We are seeing it already. There's a study that is coming out in the next couple of weeks comparing the performance of the small and medium companies in Catalonia, Rhône-Alpes and Lombardy, and with the ones in Germany. And it shows that companies that innovate, that are internationalized, that go through efficient digital transformation can perform in terms of productivity up to 100% better than the ones which don't. So it's clear that some companies will be, and some workers with them will be driven out of the market, and some will excel and will profit greatly from this transformation. That said, the figures pulled by the Future of Employment by Frey and Osborne, by the way, it's not a peer-reviewed paper, I learned, so we should be extremely cautious about how we handle those forecasts. The idea of having 50% of workers outside of the job market, of those jobs being destructed, is not that clear. It's in fact it could be much less, but I think the takeaway point there is it's not about how many jobs are destructed, it's about the difference between the jobs that are destructed and the jobs that are created. So if the bottom figure is positive, we can actually gain. So that brings us to the skills. Skills, again, is something that needs to be tackled on two levels, because there are existing workers that need to be requalified. They have to learn new skills, to adapt, but there are also the workers, the ones that will become workers in the NGI world. And we're talking about our millennials, who, as I told you yesterday, don't seem much engaged in the conversation, but need to learn a bit more critical thinking. They need to be engaged in this conversation, and in this perspective, one of our speakers, actually more than one of our speakers, stressed the importance of developing critical skills, not simply coding skills. Last but not least, the regulatory approach, and this is an extremely an extremely sensitive topic, of course. I will use the words of Kaja Kallas, who rightly said, I think, we tend to overreact in the short term and overestimate in the long term. So we should adopt a long-term view and try to develop regulation that is made not for the actual incumbent, for the present incumbent, but that is geared toward having innovation in Europe and having new players emerge in Europe. The takeaway commitments, I tricked my panelists into trying to say what they would like Europe to do in the next 12 months. And the overarching commitment there asked was expansion of broadband and commitment to openness. That is openness of public records, but also openness of innovation and of innovative business models. And again, not reinvent the bicycle, so shape the new rules thinking long term, and cultivate diversity and optimism. So that's one of the most societal dense, societal rich challenges, but I guess one of the most important ones.
Thank you very much. The audience now knows the game. Does anybody who participated in the conversation have stuff to add?
I'll do a coming out. I left out a great deal because it was a very rich conversation. So.
Yeah. Everybody does. But we just need to, nobody viscerally disagrees. Any comments or questions from the rest of us? Yes, please.
Yes, Martin Schmelzried from Families Europe. Just one thing that appeared also in Workshop 2, and I think is relevant to what you said. There was a mention of growing inequalities and concentration of wealth, which will weigh inevitably on the economy and moving forward, and also on the experience of democracy and society as a whole online, on the internet, and what's happening now with populism and all these things. So just wanted to mention that.
No, I don't have an answer. That's correct. It was mentioned, and actually that goes under the new regulation. I guess we spoke quite a bit about the gig economy in both sessions, and definitely that's something that needs to be addressed.
So